Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As a mom of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, I know what it's like to try to choose art supplies for my kids. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming and there's conflicting advice over what to buy. Should I get something that's really quality or should I get something that's cheaper? For this video, I want to talk to you about art supplies for kids and hopefully give you a better idea of what to look for to buy specifically for your needs and for your kids. As a side note, kids should always be supervised when using any art materials. I'm speaking from experience here. I've definitely made the mistake of trusting my preschoolers with my art supplies a little too much and ending up with markers on the carpet, books cut to shreds, marker tips bitten off, all kinds of nightmarish messes, and of course, Sharpie on the wall. In general, I believe kids should have access to high quality art supplies. This doesn't necessarily mean expensive, just quality. I also think kids should be allowed to play freely and make messes sometimes. An important factor to consider when choosing art supplies for your kids is how old are they and what is their skill level? For example, with preschool and elementary students, they're still learning fine motor skills and how to use different media. I think for this age group, the consumable art supplies are a great option, especially if they tend to put everything in their mouth, like my 3-year-old. If they're a little older, kindergarten or above, it's time to invest in more quality materials to kind of keep up with their level of development. Not only so your child feels like the effort she puts into her art is valuable, but also so he or she will enjoy using them more and will want to keep practicing over and over. It will also motivate you to teach them how to take good care of their art supplies and how to use them correctly. All good things, right? So let's talk details. What are some specific things you can have on hand, just household supplies laying around the house that you can use to make art with your kids? Well, that's easy. All you need are pencils, pens, paper, scissors, crayons, and markers. I think most of us have those. With these common, inexpensive things, your child can learn fine motor skills like cutting out basic shapes, drawing basic lines and shapes, and learning how to do basic color mixtures. These are some of my favorite starter supplies for my little ones. We've used this Play-Doh Fun Factory set for over 2 years, and it's never worn out. My kids love to use it. They pull it out almost every single day. We do have to regularly replace the Play-Doh because inevitably my 3-year-old will mix all the colors together on the first day. But that's okay, he likes to pretend it's dirt, so it works out. But this toy will last for years and provide hours and hours of fun. We always have Crayola washable markers in our house. My daughter loves to draw. She especially loves coloring with markers. And so they're really, really cheap. You can just throw them out when they dry out, buy some new ones. You can use regular printer paper to let your kids just churn out drawing after drawing. I also like to buy the Melissa and Doug sketch pads or paper packs. Those are a little better quality, more drawing quality, and they're also pretty inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. I'm a watercolor artist, so I have all kinds of recommendations for watercolors. One of my favorite sets for kids is the Arteza Watercolor Kids set. It's a great starter pack. You can get it with an included pack of paper and brushes, and it's got beautiful pigmented color, much more high quality than some of the other beginner paints that are on the market. But again, if you have little kids who have never used watercolor before and are just trying to figure out how to hold their brush and how to use water in paint, definitely start with the Crayola sets or something really inexpensive. Just keep in mind that super cheap paint is filled with a lot of fillers, meaning it's not very pigmented, it's not light fast, so it will fade over time. A great way to teach kids line control and how to even just hold their pens and pencils and markers is with coloring books. Every parent should have some coloring books laying around the house for their kids. If you have a little older kids, we love the Dover coloring books. I used those all the time when I was a kid. I recommend a standing easel in every household, especially if you homeschool and your kids are home all the time. Standing easels in a playroom, I think, just scream, make art. Make art all day long. There's no limit to how much art you can make. It's always available, it's always free, and it's always a wonderful way to be creative and to express yourself. We love the Melissa and Doug wooden standing easel. If you have kids who are really serious about art and want to try all different media, many stores like Hobby Lobby or even Costco will sell large kits of art supplies just for kids that have paints, they have markers, they have a bunch of different media for your kids to try. As your kids get older, it's a great time to explore things like sculpting, painting with acrylics and oil paints, calligraphy and hand lettering, pastels, colored pencil, charcoal drawing. There are so many amazing options. Some of my favorite recommendations for quality drawing supplies are also really inexpensive. You can get a basic charcoal drawing set by General Pencil. This 33-piece set of pencils and charcoal has everything you need. It includes the erasers, the sharpeners, and just everything you need to get started. Invest in a good pad of paper. Strathmore makes excellent drawing paper. You can find that at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or online, of course. One of my first serious art supplies when I was a kid was Prismacolor Colored pencils. These are awesome colored pencils. They can help you feel like a professional artist, and you can do some really elaborate drawings with these pencils. If you're wanting to get started with pastels with your kids, I recommend starting with soft pastels. A great brand to start with is Rembrandt. They make great pastels that are just a little bit harder, not quite as soft, so you can control them a little more, but you can still blend them. As your kids want to get a little more serious, maybe with watercolor, I recommend the Winsor Newton Cotman set, or I love Sennelier, Daniel Smith. There's so many good brands out there. Start with something that is more quality, that's got good pigment quality, that is transparent. More transparent paint will be more luminous on the paper. The paper will shine through a little bit more. And if you have paint that's a little more opaque, it just looks duller and it's not quite as nice looking in the finished result. But if you're choosing to do watercolor, I think the most important supply to have on hand is good quality paper. I can't stress enough how important the paper is. Here's a little comparison for you between wood-based paper and cotton-based paper. With the wood-based paper, the water tends to kind of pool unevenly in different areas, and it doesn't soak in as well. The paint just doesn't respond as well. With cotton-based paper, there's better dispersion of your pigment. It soaks it up better, it handles the paint a little easier. You can scrub out some of the paint if you make a mistake. With wood-based paper, it's not so easy to do that. You'll kind of wreck the paper if you try to scrub it. So I recommend cotton paper. Just invest in it, you'll be happy you did. Of course, I will list out all the supplies I recommend in the description below. Brushes. You really only need 1 or 2 good brushes. You don't have to buy a whole pack of expensive brushes. Just a couple different sizes to play with. And make sure they are a little bit nicer, as cheap brushes, as you've probably figured out from experience, tend to shed hairs and they don't hold the paint and water very well. So just buy 1 or 2 nice ones and you'll be happy you did. In summary, buying art supplies for your kids doesn't have to be complicated. Giving your child the best art supplies can help motivate them to create beautiful artwork, and it opens them up to an amazing range of imaginative possibilities. Quality art supplies doesn't necessarily have to mean expensive art supplies. You can get great quality for a reasonable price. I'm sure there are many other topics that didn't quite touch on this video, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave me a comment below and I will definitely respond. I look forward to hearing your feedback on this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button too. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, and if you're new to watercolor and want to learn more, I do post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching today.